For thousands of years, we thought the starry night to be kind of a regal, methodical, orderly realm. But very recently, we've come to find that our part of space is a pretty rock and roll place.
The paradigm has shifted from grand ballet to modern interpretive dance. The solar system is no longer simple. It's no longer a handful of grave, godly characters moving in stately and unchanging orbits, but instead it's on the verge of chaos.
The solar system, and in particular the minor planets or asteroids, are constantly running into each other. So from the beginning of the solar system, when we had a group of fairly large objects that keep smacking into one another and causing smaller and smaller particles.
Their objects are continuously grinding around, impacting each other, primarily in the asteroid belt. We see asteroids and comets impacting the other planets.
Most of the asteroids are between Mars and Jupiter. Some of them get kicked in to the Earth's neighborhood and are what we call near-Earth objects.
The dynamics of the asteroid belt are controlled by the way the big planets move around the sun, and also, of course, by collisions. Sometimes material can be driven out of the asteroid belt when two asteroids collide, and that's thought to be one of the reasons that some asteroids cross the orbit of the Earth, these so-called near-Earth objects.
It might be one of those that will someday get us in trouble again. This happened 65 million years ago. And even more recently, we have a crater upstate in Arizona called Meteor Crater that was formed by an object only, say, 50 meters in diameter. That's all it took to produce a hole in the ground half a mile across and a quarter mile deep. We wouldn't want that landing anywhere near a city. Landing, well, that's hardly the word. These things come in at about 60 kilometers per second.
Astronomers think that there are between 1,000 and 2,000 objects that cross the orbit of the Earth that are they're large enough to do us damage if they impacted. These are called potentially hazardous objects.
Since humanity woke up to the threat of impacts, some have been afraid that the next one could happen 5 minutes from now. But thanks to Space Watch and other searches, it's far more likely that long before a big rock in the sky gets us, we may be able to get it. And that's exactly what space development entrepreneur Jim Benson is counting on.
I started to realize that there are these vast, untapped, available, concentrated natural resources in near-Earth space that are easy and relatively inexpensive to get to, and that can form the building block of self-sustaining human settlements in space.
So the very objects that menace us could actually wind up ensuring our species' survival by expanding civilization to other worlds.
Those are lifeless bodies. There's no life to displace. No one owns them. We need to go out and start tapping into those concentrated natural resources in space, living off the land, using the water for propulsion, for life support, and the other materials.
They literally are stepping stones to Mars. They're near-Earth asteroids represent the Apollo 8, if you will, of Mars missions. They would allow us to exercise the technology that would be required to get human beings to Mars without that major next step of going all the way from our experience in low Earth orbit all the way to a very long mission to Mars.
If we were dedicated to the idea of extracting water from a near-Earth asteroid or any other asteroid for use in our space program, we would have a pretty good short list of asteroids to look at in detail right now. Every year the list gets longer, and every year the most attractive prospect turns out to be a little more attractive than the last one we discovered.